Okay, share screen. PowerPoint. And we're now on Wednesday, agenda 2. Okay, welcome to the Build It Yourself Laboratory. This is training session number 4 on June the 6th. And our mission in this training session is to present 3 PowerPoints, one that we didn't complete in the morning, in the earlier session this morning. Okay, so let's charge right into this, guys. Brent, can you queue up the presenting ideas PowerPoint, which is the one we missed from this morning? 3 ways to present your ideas. And let me stop sharing my screen. Great. Okay. Now, just as a warm-up, if you will, to this presentation, again, this is one of the PowerPoints that we give in all projects. What we sell to parents is that your kids are going to exercise their problem-solving skills and your kids are going to exercise their presentation skills. What we mean by presentation skills are verbal, graphic, and video, written. So all kinds of presentation skills are sort of incorporated in this. And we often say to parents, at Build It Yourself, it's really important that your kids have good ideas. It's really important that they execute their ideas, but it's equally important that they present their ideas. If they don't, if they have a great idea and they don't present their idea properly, it may not get the attention it deserves. So that's one of the reasons why we call Build It Yourself an art and engineering program. The art of it is the art of presenting your ideas. And also the art of it emphasizes that this is creative building, not cookbook building. But that's a whole nother issue. Okay, back to the setting the stage here for this presentation PowerPoint. Okay, let's dive right into it, Brent. First slide.
Oh,
go
I
ahead.
hate to do this. As I said before,
yeah.
Well, just this typically when I go to present this, and John, correct me if I'm wrong here. This example is redundant to some of the others, and just for time's sake, oftentimes we'll delete this slide.
Yeah.
And then these slides also, there's oftentimes we just don't present them.
Right.
Is that still the case?
Yeah, yeah. So here's, often in our PowerPoints, we'll have more slides than we really need. And part of that is because sometimes we have really smart kids and they want to cover more. And other times, we want to change the presentation each time, because sometimes in the second presentation, a kid will already have seen the first one. So if we have several examples and we have multiple return kids, we can change the examples a little. So that's the logic sometimes between what we actually present and what we have in the PowerPoint. Okay, first slide. So,
okay, so
you want to take this one, Brent? Go ahead.
Sure. So basically all these slides just comparing 2 things that are said to be the same, but they look different. That's basically the whole premise behind this. Things that are presented well and not presented well. There's no right or wrong answer. We let the kids engage in conversation, and we ask them to give, their reasoning. And oftentimes, we learn something new. So we show them this slide, and we say, here's 2 bags of candy. It's the exact same kind of candy inside of it. It costs the exact same amount for the candy. The candy is the same quality. Which bag would you buy and why? And kids will typically say the one on the left, and they'll say because it looks better presented. They'll say that they think people put more time into it, and it's just going to be better. There's other times they'll say they'll buy the one on the right because it looks like, someone didn't have the money and they're trying their best. Sometimes we have like really sympathetic people. They want to support a local business versus big business. Sometimes they say they won't touch the one on the right because it looks smashed up, or the candy might be damaged. So there's a lot of reasons, and usually the one on the left wins.
But our point here is not to be judgmental. We want to say there's multiple ways to success, and we just want you to think about what it means when you're presenting your candy. And maybe you want to present it as a startup company. We put all our energy into making the candy and not into being Madison Avenue marketing. Or we want people to think our candy is high quality and cool, so we're going to spend as much time on the wrapper as we do on the candy. There's no right or wrong answer here. We just want kids to think about it, and then at the end we hope they'll come to a conclusion about that it's really important how you present your ideas. Okay, next slide. So imagine, guys, that you're running a lemonade stand and all of your buddies are running a lemonade stand on the same block. So which lemonade stand would you go to and why? DJ or Julian, do you have a preference and why?
Well, the one on the right looks nicer, but it uses Comic Sans, so I'm not sure I can support that.
Okay, I've heard that so many times, but I love Comic Sans because I used to love to read Donald Duck comic books, and so I'm just hooked on Comic Sans. But I get your point.
Oh, I see.
DJ, any thoughts on which one you would choose? Are you rooting for the underdog or the super, the super company?
I think the one on the right looks nicer.
Okay. So one of the things we try to get kids to think about is, well, what goes on in your head when you see these two lemonade stands? You might think if the lemonade people spent the time to make a nice looking sign, maybe they spend time cleaning their glasses. Whereas if you just scribble up a lemonade sign, maybe you don't mix your lemonade or you don't clean the glasses properly. So there's a psychology often that goes in your head when you're looking at, at how something is presented. Okay, next slide.
My favorite answer to that one is when kids say neither, they're green.
It's green lemonade, right?
It's like something's wrong here.
Yeah.
But that's actually funny and a good answer too.
Yeah, it's a great answer.
The product.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, so this one at times I get a little controversial. I paint the scenario like this. Your mom's parking in a no parking zone outside of a library. She has 5 tickets against her already, and they'll tow her car away, and maybe she'll have to go to jail if she gets another ticket. She parks there anyways, and you only have 1 minute to go into this library, find the book called Cool Tricks, get it off the shelf, take it out, and get back to your mom before she might get into trouble. Which book are you going to pick off the shelf first? They're the same book, same content. Which one will you be able to get first, and why?
Sisha, do you have a story to tell here?
It's the book on the right.
Why?
Yeah, it's really obvious. If I'm in a rush, I could see the words more easily because it's bigger.
Yep.
And the color is more attractive, I think.
It makes you think that it really is cool. So you often hear the expression, you can't judge a book by its cover. Certainly that's true. But in practice, we often do judge people and products by how they look as much as how they function. So that's a kind of message that we want to deliver to kids. Any other thoughts before we go to the next example?
This slide in particular, sometimes kids will get this happens in general. There will be a few kids who they don't really understand the question you ask. They almost get it. So like there'll be that kid that will say, "Well, I think the book on the left looks more professional. It might have better content in it." And though you told them it's the same content and that you're trying to find it in a time limit, they don't realize you're asking, "Can you see it from a distance? Can you pick it fast? Like, does it scream out to you, this is what you're looking for?" What I normally do, and I think all of us do at Build It Yourself, is we just entertain it. Consider it a valid point, because it was valid to them. Don't embarrass them on it, and kind of just say, well, yeah, that's the way someone might perceive that other book. Maybe they see that book that says cool tricks, but they see the other one next to it, and they just pick the one that looks like it will have smaller text. It might look more like an adult book, more professional or something. And, that's okay, and it gets other ideas flowing too.
Great. Bottom line here is we don't want to be judgmental. We want to present a logic and then let the kids decide what logic appeals to them. Okay, next slide. So this is a little bit different take. This is a little bit different way of thinking about the importance of design. So imagine, we try to start with a storyline. Imagine that you live on a street where cars are going 60 miles an hour, and you don't want to get squished when you cross the street. Which stop sign would you rather have on the corner? The one on the left is more artistic, more interesting, more thought provocative, and the one on the right is just, it is what it is. DJ, do you have a critique of these two signs?
Yeah, the one on the right is what we see every day, and it's really clear, and it's only one word. And the one on the left is like a sentence, and the background color and the text color are similar.
Right. Hard to read quickly. If you're going 60 miles an hour, you're never going to process the information on the slide on the left, even though it may look more appealing, more pleasing. Great. This is sort of obvious, but one of the messages we want to deliver here is that sometimes being very direct and not paying so much attention to super design is better. Sometimes less is more. Okay, so those are the 3 slides, and those are the example slides. This one is...
We typically omit it. It's the same.
Yeah, but it relates to their lab book. We want you to make a lab book, guys, that will make people, when they see the cover, want to open it. Okay, next slide.
And this is where the activity begins. So we ask the kids, well, we show them this first. We tell them that there's 3 ways to present your ideas: the ugly, the average, and the way cool. And then we'll ask someone, always remember to try and engage them. Have someone read this, and they'll say ugly, inconsistent, out of bounds, average, boring, inbounds, and then the last one. And then at this point, you will want to give examples. One example I know we give is, if your boss asks you to get them a cup of water and you don't, or you get them something else, it's ugly. If you just bring them a cup of water, it's average. And if you bring them a cup of water with like a slice of lemon and some ice, it's the way cool. You went above and beyond. That example sometimes isn't as relatable. So if you can then bring it back around to something, like a video game.
I have a number of examples that I often use. Can you go to the next slide, Brent? Again, I think Brent was going down this path. You want to try to change the storyline as often as you can. Sometimes you'll have repeat students, or sometimes, as Brent said, you'll notice that it's all boys or all girls, so you'll want to use different examples. So sometimes I use a soccer example. If you're playing soccer the ugly way, you're the goalie and you're trying to score. If you're playing soccer the average way, you're doing just what the coach tells you to do and nothing more. And if you're playing soccer the way cool way, the problem with the ugly way is you're going to lose. The problem with the average way is that eventually, if you do the formula approach or exactly what your coach tells you to do, your opponents are going to figure out your strategy, and they're ultimately going to beat you. If you're playing soccer the way cool way, you're doing what your coach tells you to do, plus you're using a scissor kick to score the goal, which your opponents don't expect. So that's the way cool, build it yourself way. And that's the way we want kids to think. This is the way we want you to think when you're doing a build it yourself project. If you're flipping hamburgers the ugly way, you're going to get fired. If you're flipping hamburgers the average way, you're going to be flipping hamburgers for the rest of your life. If you're flipping hamburgers the way cool way, someday you're going to own the hamburger joint. So, try to use, if you're playing the guitar the ugly way, the guitar is out of tune and you're not playing in the same scale. If you're playing the guitar the average way, you're playing the music just as it's written on the sheet. If you're playing the guitar the way cool way, you're syncopating the rhythm, you're adding little riffs in between the notes. That's the way cool way to play the guitar.
Yeah. My one advice is try and find what's going to resonate with the class. Like for me, sometimes I don't know how relatable work is to kids at this age, 8 to 13, and I don't know how into politics they are. If you feel like there's a lot of kids that would get these, you can use them. These ones I think are more relatable to the age bracket, but might not hit the whole group. So be creative. These are just kind of guidelines of the philosophy, but this is the formula. Ugly is not what you're supposed to do and is negative. Average is what you're supposed to do, but that's it. Doesn't get you anywhere. And way cool is when you impress somebody. You do stuff that you're not supposed, you weren't told to do, but it's in a positive light. And the formula can be applied to almost anything. Like, it's your birthday, and your parents are going to get you a birthday cake. If it's the ugly way, you're going to get a squished cupcake. The average way is you get a plain white frosted cake that's vanilla. The way cool way is if your cake, when you cut it open, has like different colors in it, and it's like several layers, has your favorite cartoon show on it, and maybe it has $100 bill on the top and a money clip or something like that. And like that's a birthday cake is probably relatable to like, I'm not, I don't want to get into like, religion and stuff. But like I know Jehovah's Witnesses don't celebrate religion, but a huge population of people do. And it may hit, more people in understanding than like a burger joint. So use your creativity to fill in the blanks and fill out the class. A lot of this is being fluid, and like if you're a fluid workshop leader, you're going to get a better result with the kids, and the engagement will increase. They'll see you as more of a friend. They'll listen more, and things will progress better, in my opinion.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Brent. Next slide. Oh, excuse me. So, so this is just what we've been saying all along, and then we show a couple of examples in the slide 13 and 14, and then go back to slide 11, Brent. So after we present this, then we say, okay, now we've just spent 5 minutes doing this presentation. We say, kids, okay, go to your lab books, and you're going to learn. You're going to document this in your lab books. And what we're trying to do here not only is make a point about presenting your ideas, but also what comes out of this is the importance of documentation and how to use PowerPoint. So in our lab book cover, we've shown them how to use word art, text boxes, and copying and pasting images. Now they're starting to use PowerPoint much more aggressively. They have to learn how to enter shapes, how to use the scribble tool, how to use the coloring tool, how to use copy and paste to make things happen quickly. So we'll often go through an example really quickly of how you would do this, and then we let the kids go off on their own. Yeah, so we'll draw a square and then replicate it 3 times. Yeah. Great. Yep, cool. You get the idea. Good.
Right.
Okay. Brent, let's just go quickly to the last slides. Just so that everyone has a perspective here. So we give
Sure.
this importance of presentations to both our members and our interns. So the last sections of slides, past this one, this is the conclusion right here. So this is the notes from Professor Wilson at MIT. I think it's Professor Wilson.
Winston.
Winston,
at
right?
the top right.
Yeah. And here's how he presents the importance of presenting your ideas to MIT students. So you can go through this on your own if you like, but as I said yesterday, this is one of the most fascinating lectures I've ever been to, and one of the most popular lectures I understand of all at MIT. Okay, let's just quickly scan through this because then there's another group of slides at the end of this. So these aren't his PowerPoints, these are my summary of his PowerPoint presentation. And this is a summary of his whole presentation. Okay, keep going. Okay, so here's something we talk about when we go into principles of design. I won't go into the details of this, but just know at the end, these are some exercises that are basic exercises for art students on how you lay out designs. You have to consider balance, alignment, rhythm, those 4 factors that go into all the masterpiece art works. We try to show that in a quick summary here. So these are advanced presenting ideas, slides that you could give to a kid who's really smart or in our intern program. Okay, so your assignments for tomorrow, guys, are from this morning to practice the intro presentation and then to practice and document this presenting your ideas slide in your lab books. Okay, so now we're going to do 2 PowerPoints on the introduction to projects. The project, if you could cue up, Brent, the first one is Minecraft.
Right, so just so you guys are familiar where to get these,
Yes,
when you go to buildityourself.com, it's just under missions. And like we said, the lessons at the bottom are universal to every project. Missions is where we find content that is specific to, a workshop. You said flying machines, John?
No, let's do Minecraft.
Minecraft.
This is a request from Sisha because Sisha is a Minecraft player.
Excellent. All right, so.
Also, we're doing 3 Minecraft camps this summer.
Right, and you scroll down to you'll need, and then we'll have the intro.
So we do 3 Minecraft classes, 101, 102, 103. 101 is architecture. That's the one I think we're going to be doing this summer. We might do a little bit of 102 in one of the classes. Okay, so Brent, you're more the Minecraft player than I am. So you want to?
Sure.
Yep.
So basically, let me just give you the overview of the way 101 and 102 works, and then we'll go through the problem mission. I am not big on history. I wish I was because I know the value of it. I just like being in front of my computer more than reading about history. So John, jump in when we talk about the civilizations themselves.
Okay.
But basically, in Minecraft 101, we have a barren land. It's not a developed civilization. We need to develop it. 102, we have achieved success. We have an interest in culture, interest in art, interest in inventions. And with that, people become jealous or they see the value in it and they need it for themselves. And rather than doing the steps to build it, they want to take it. And that's when we have people who will come through lands, they steal, they loot. So the problem with Minecraft 101, okay. So the Amaterasu's land is barren but has potential. Advanced civilizations have Sphinx-like monuments, Taj Mahal-like structures, Google-like laboratories, and Harry Potter-like castles that inspire creative builders to invent amazing contraptions. We dream about being an advanced civilization. And then the mission. The Amaterasu need your help to build an exotic laboratory. full of way cool contraptions. Our laboratory must inspire friendlies with beautiful fountains, gardens, and structures.
Great.
I totally want to do the, especially after we talked about a line and stuff. I want to move
Yeah.
that up.
Thank you, Brent.
It's one
Okay.
box. All right. And then Minecraft 102. Let's see.
So then we,
Oh, do you want to run through it?
let's stick with 101. So, we ask kids, what do you think are some of the most amazing civilizations? And then we go to the next slide and we sort of try to kindle their imagination. So we see how the Mayans in Mexico lived. We see how Apple is developing their new development lab. And the other two are science fiction environments. I think, well, maybe one is the Greek structure. I think the fourth one is a science fiction. So we just want to get kids to do their research and think about really cool civilizations, either fantasy science fiction ones or modern day ones like the Apple or Google workspaces, or ancient Mayan and Egyptian or Greek civilizations. Next slide, Brent.
And just to throw in some flair,
Yeah.
when presenting, like if you know there's like a history buff in the class and you want to mess with them, you could say something like the ancient apples from California and the advanced civilization or something of the ancient apples, and see if they call you on it for the fun of it. And that's just, playful jokes and humor, add your own personality and stuff.
Cool. And then we say, well, there have been great civilizations over the years that have built, amazing statues and far out way cool monuments. But today our monuments look like McDonald's. So we need to fix that. We want people in the future to think we were as cool a civilization as the Egyptians and the Greeks and the Mayans. So our mission is to improve the state of our architecture. Okay. Next slide. So then we just ask kids to do some research. Next slides. Yeah. Brent, maybe you'd like to talk about some of the examples and the uglies and the way cools.
Yeah. So basically what we try and show them as some of the examples is things with interest in architecture. And we define that as things that are large enough for you to see detail, not extremely basic geometric shapes like a square or a triangle. Though a triangle in Minecraft's a little more interesting than just making a block or a square structure. Like these have archways, they have designs on them, and that hopefully sets a goal for them.
Basically, we have three, excuse me, Brent. Basically, we have three measures of success for design. That they use interesting shapes, that they use multiple materials, and thirdly, that they make the structure big enough so you can show detail. Okay.
And that's right here, 5 different blocks, must be at least 20 blocks high. And we just kind of explain the detail, the interesting shapes part. And people usually immediately recognize SpongeBob. That's kind of fun. And then another example, the Sphinx.
These were all made by our students or our workshop leaders.
I think they were Darian, I remember.
Yeah, Darian made this.
He was good at these.
Yeah.
Right. And then we kind of go into why is architecture important, and we show some interesting examples by famous architects.
Anyone know who this architect is? This is the great Antonio Gaudi from Spain. He built really beautiful structures in Barcelona.
I knew I recognized it somewhere. I went to Barcelona and I saw like a lot of his things. He has like a whole museum.
Yeah.
Designed a bunch of the stuff and it looked really trippy.
Oh yeah, really trippy is a great description. He's an amazing architect. One of my great heroes. And then the next architect, who knows who did the MIT building?
Ooh.
A guy named Frank Gehry, who's an engineer, really inventive, and he started by using junk to build his own house in California, and then he extended that to now building amazing. I mean, he built the museum in Bilbao, Spain, the Guggenheim Museum, and of course he built the AI building at MIT. Okay, you know, again, we're trying to inspire kids to think about the importance of architecture in their Minecraft 101 construction. And these are pictures of Google workspaces. Okay, next slide. Brent,
Right.
you want to take it away here for how we introduce
Sure.
how an architect thinks?
So basically what we do here is we explain to them that you need to create a floor plan before you build. And we tell them that the way you do this is you make a list of the activities and functions the structure is going to need. So if you were going to build your own dream house, you might want a really cool video game room, an amazing kitchen with like the largest fridge for all the ice cream you could ever want. You might want an indoor swimming pool in the basement. So write down everything you think you need, and then you design the floor plan to match those functions. And you design the floor plan so when you build, we have a philosophy, and Julian, sorry for cutting you off earlier when you were saying your quote, but it reminded me of this. Measure twice, cut once. It's a lot easier to spend the time planning it and doing it right than it is to rush something out without thinking about it. And as you said, a delayed game is, you know, can be really great, but a rushed game will always be bad if it was bad. I probably butchered that quote, but same philosophy in a sense. We plan and then we build, and we make sure it's going to be way cool. And at this, one thing I do that's, if I can find the file, I'll share. I haven't taught a Minecraft course like from the beginning since I think last summer or the summer before. I made something in Blender 3D where I can just extrude what looks like blocks just by, you know, using an array modifier to like duplicate layers of blocks. And I kind of show them a floor plan in 3D, and then I just extrude it up with like a few clicks, and it shows them how the walls of the floor plan will, you know, rise into the, you know, what is the beginning of the building, and it helps drive that home. So if you can find any cool examples of this that, you know, match your field or something, or something you're passionate about, like I am 3D graphics, feel free to be creative at Build It Yourself. We want you guys to have your input. The workshop leaders, you guys are part of the product. You have interesting backgrounds, interesting skill sets, and that's half the fun. And John, I want to go on do I have a minute to do one small tangent about how our mission PowerPoints work in general?
Sure. How about going to the next slide, because it really drives home
I see.
the slide before that.
Oh, yes.
So this is what we mean by getting kids in their PowerPoint lab book to list and then lay out the spaces. Okay, go ahead, Brent. Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to drive home,
worries.
Drive
No
home
worries.
the point. Mm-hmm.
So for anyone who's not teaching Minecraft, this is completely relatable to you. There's a formula behind the Build It Yourself missions. They're supposed to be game-like. They have a topic. Then we define a problem and a mission, so that's there. Everything, you know, follows that. Then we give some examples of that relate to the problem mission, and we have them research. They start researching, you know, some cool structures or cool flying machines, cool 3D movies, anything that's relevant to the workshop you're teaching. So you think problem, mission, examples, do your research. You know, we're documenting this stuff as we go. You know, we're setting some metrics for success, and then we have them plan something. They design something. If it's their website, they plan out a site map. If it's Minecraft, they make a floor plan. If it's a flying machine, you know, and that's maybe slightly varies, but we have a blueprint for them to follow on the first thing they build, but there's still a plan that they follow that's already measured. And we really want to drive home being creative, unique, unusual, not some well, this is symmetrical, but we try, like, if we're drawing a character, make it unique, make it a little non-symmetrical. Eyes bigger than the other. If it's Minecraft, don't use the most basic blocks. Make really elaborate 3D and multi-layered, entrances and bridges and everything like that. And as we keep showing you more slides, even within this PowerPoint or other missions, you'll learn kind of a philosophy behind this. And the reason I bring this up is if you're teaching more than one workshop, so like Sisha, you like Minecraft, if you were to teach Blender 3D and you never taught it before, as long as you learn the project, the PowerPoint that support it will feel natural because it's the build it yourself style. John, anything to add?
Yep. Sounds good. Sounds good. That's a
Okay.
big picture perspective of how we try to organize all of our project intros. Okay, then finally we talk about going on to the next slide, on slide 20. We get kids to think about, one of the beauties of Minecraft is it's pixel oriented, so it's a nice introduction to pixel graphics. So we ask kids to make a graffiti sign on their plot of land. We ask kids in the next slide, 21, to think about making, instead of rectangular structures, rounded structures. So we get them to think about how big your structure has to be in order to get the kind of detail and smoothness you need. It's a really interesting opportunity in Minecraft to get kids to think about pixel graphics. Next slide. So you can see how these pixel graphics extrapolate. Next slide, into shapes. And yeah, okay, so we just thumb through these. You guys can figure out from just going through these slides on your own kind of what they're about. So there's a lot of material here, more than you can cover in the typical camp. You have to filter which slides you want to use, or even make new ones that are in line with what you think is cool about Minecraft. Okay, I think we got Minecraft down. Any questions? Your assignment again here is to document the problem and the mission in your lab book for Minecraft 101, and then practice presenting this presentation. Maybe record it if you like and critique yourself, or present it to us in a follow-up meeting, and we'll help you critique.
So
okay.
we do the whole problem and our mission and stuff like that, but for Minecraft 101?
Yeah, just in your lab book, one page. Here's the problem for Minecraft 101 in your own words. Let's go back to the problem mission statement, Brent. Yeah, so we just, in your own words, here's the problem. We got barren land. That's enough to say for the problem. And the mission, design, a way cool structure that future civilizations will say, wow, this civilization may be cool. Or aliens from outer space will say, we want to make friends with this civilization because they look way cool. And you just need one slide, or maybe two slides, one slide for the problem and one slide for the mission. Anytime you can add an image to reinforce the problem and the mission, we tell kids that's a good thing. Did I answer your question, Julian?
Yeah, thank you.
So basically you have two assignments here. One is add a new page to your lab book, problem and mission. And the second assignment here is go through this PowerPoint and make sure you feel comfortable either presenting it or at least adding ideas if someone else is presenting. Okay, great. Last PowerPoint, and then we can adjourn. We're going to do Soapbox Racers. I'll take the lead on this one, mostly Brent, but feel free to chime in because I don't. Well, you've done this project before, haven't you? Yeah, surely you've done this project, Brent.
I have. Let's see.
Oh, do we have
these plans?
Yeah.
Sure. Let me see something other. Okay, that's the.
Yeah. Great. So it's useful if you not only review the PowerPoint, but the web page also. Yeah, the web page reflects the PowerPoint. It's kind of a 30,000-foot view of the PowerPoint on each project web page. Okay, so Soapbox Racers, so next slide. Yeah, blah, 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 next slide. So here's the problem and the mission. You know, we ask kids to read this. And then next slide. So here are some examples of Soapbox Racers that kids have built. Brent, can you play the video? Let's just show them an end result. Go back to
Sure.
the project site.
Oh, I see.
And play the video. I think at the very top is the video. Yep. So this was at Concord Academy. So this is about a 1 minute video. Yeah. There's music to this, but you can't hear it on Brent's. But on Brent's got his earphones on, but headphones. So this is the computer game, like, you know, Mario Brothers race car game. This is a really fun project. And you can see what a popular event it is. You know, we like parents to come out. That's a measure of success when we can, when the kids are so excited about what they're doing that they invite their parents to come. Okay, you get the idea. Great. Okay, back to the PowerPoint.
Let me clear the annotation real quick. Okay.
Okay, next slide. Yeah, just a caution, these soapbox racers are never to be on the road. Very often what we tell kids is, you know, you're gonna know how to build your own soapbox racer, so you can build this at home. All the parts for the soapbox racers, the basic parts, cost $89 or $87 in some sense from Home Depot. And so we encourage kids to build their own soapbox racer at home. In camp, 3 or 4 kids will build one racer, so they can't really take it home. Okay, next slide. Great, we go through the tool rules. Tool rule number 1, don't cut finger off. Next slide. They have to document this in their lab book.
Wait, so doesn't 6 and 1 contradict? I'm just kidding.
Right. Okay, so then, you know, we drive the kids through the proper way to saw. It's not easy for kids to saw, so you have to give them an example of how to do that. When you get here, we'll show you how we teach the proper way to saw, okay? And the safe way to saw. Next slide. So then we'll just go through this real quick. This is a cookbook for getting the basic chassis together. So that we consider the chassis a module. And then the creative part of it is going to come when you decorate your car or add functionality to it. Add features to your car. Some kid used Lego to build a speed measure on their car. So they clicked how they sensed how often the wheel turned, and they wrote a Lego program to convert that into miles per hour. That was an amazing feature he put on his machine. Okay, so then we say this is the creative part after you build your chassis. One slide before, Brent, sorry. Yeah, here's this top view and the side view of how everyone's chassis will look pretty much the same. Now the question is, let's put the skin on it. That's where the really creative part comes. The skin and the extra functionality. Can go to the next slide. You must look cool, blah, blah, blah. Next slide. You must be fast. Oh, so these are measures of success. We give awards at the end. Who's the fastest, who's the most accurate, and who looks the coolest. Next slide. Yeah. So, yeah, best brakes. Okay, next slide. Next slide, what you should learn. Next slide. So if you want to motorize your car at home, these are instructions for motorizing the car. Okay. So the assignment here, guys, is the same as for Minecraft. Review this PowerPoint. You know where to find it. Under missions and contraptions, and then scroll down to Soapbox Racers. Oh, right, here's all the parts. You can tell kids if they want to take their Soapbox Racer home. We say, no, you can't do that. We recycle the parts. But at the end of this PowerPoint are all the materials you'll need from Home Depot. Okay, good, good, good. So your assignment here is to review this PowerPoint, practice, how you would present it, and then document another page in your lab book, Problem Mission Soapbox Racers. So now you should have in your lab book the cover, how to present your ideas, 5 problem-solving tricks, problem mission for Soapbox Racers, and problem mission for Minecraft. Is that right? Yeah, the slide that you create in your lab book for intro to building yourself is basically the cover of your lab book.
So we make a problem statement things for the Soapbox and Minecraft? Yeah.
Okay. Just add. So we want to use your PowerPoint lab books when you're teaching. You may want to say, well, this is the way I made the page. So you start to personalize it. I mean, you're welcome to use our example, but I love it when workshop leaders improve on what we do or make it their own style rather than, have everything look the same. Get to expose kids to more variety that way, more perspectives. Does this make sense, guys? We're ready to adjourn after we get your feedback. Does the sort of building yourself process, is it starting to gel for you? Do you see the consistency that we're striving for in exercising different skills and repeating, problem-solving skills, documentation, teamwork, research, defining your goals, problem and mission, all those 5 problem-solving tricks we're reinforcing again and again and again in each project. That's the sort of build it yourself lesson plan logic. This starting to connect the dots for you?
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Unless we have any feedback, I think we can adjourn, and any free time you have to work on the assignments, that'd be great. See you tomorrow, 9 o'clock.
Sure, see you. Also, I'll email you the spreadsheet when I can.
Oh, thank you, Julian. Okay, good. All right, DJ, have a good rest of the day. Julian and Cisha, and Brent, see you at 1 o'clock.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
John, you need to